What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So if you're on hockey social media, especially Twitter and even Instagram, you might have seen one of the most controversial tier lists that I have ever seen in my entire life. And I'm talking from personal experience. I have made some extremely controversial stuff, but one of my fellow mutuals on Instagram and Twitter, Kaylor Mimamito, posted a first overall tier list, basically since the modern era of the NHL draft in 1979. And yeah, it's interesting. And I kind of wanted to rip off my personal opinion. I'm going to keep it respectful. People were absolutely trashing him, being disrespectful. I'm never going to do that to another person that makes these lists and stuff. You got to be respectful when talking about this discourse. But we are going to be looking at it right now. Here is the initial thing. 782,000 overall views and 510 replies to only 563 likes. That means you're controversial. That is serious numbers. I don't even think I've ever approached that many overall impressions or that many replies. But I wanted to look at this. I wanted to break it down because obviously the first thing that does stick out to you on this tier list is Ovechkin being in franchise-defining player instead of league-altering. I understand how you could maybe have Ovechkin in that second tier, because I do agree when it's all said and done, McDavid's going to be clear of him. Crosby's already clear of him, and Lemieux is no duh clear of him. He's the second greatest player of all time. My problem is when you have in the same tier as Alexander Ovechkin, when you have a guy like Mike Modano, who I don't think was ever even a Hart finalist. He did win a Stanley Cup, but never racked up any individual awards. Ovechkin already shits on him in terms of career numbers. When you have even a Dale Hawerchuk and Eric Lindros in the same tier as an Alexander Ovechkin, Joe Thornton as well, that's when you get the pushback because Alexander Ovechkin is in my opinion, he's a top 10 greatest player of all time already. No doubt top 20 greatest of all time. He's already second all time in goals. He's going to finish with the goal record. So again, I think that's where the criticism comes from. It's not even saying that he's as good as Crosby, because I don't think that he's greater than Crosby, even though he actually has better overall awards than Crosby. It's more so when you lump him with Hall of Famers, for sure, but not even top 50 greatest players of all time like Mike Modano. Maybe you could put Modano top 50, but not top 40 for sure. If you look at my list, he's not close to the guys within the top 40. My main gripe with this isn't even Ovechkin, because again, I understand why you would throw the three of those at the top. My main gripe is Nathan MacKinnon being an absolutely elite. Meanwhile, Mike Modano, a guy like Mike Modano, is in franchise-defining player. How is Nathan MacKinnon not a franchise-defining player? When you look at it, Nathan MacKinnon's just overall. Modano played in like the early 90s when scoring was off the goddamn charts, and Nathan MacKinnon just has straight-up better numbers when looking at it compared to Mike Modano. Nathan MacKinnon has a Hart. Nathan MacKinnon has like three other Hart finalists. Nathan MacKinnon has been a top three player in the NHL basically since 2018 when he finished the second runner-up to the Hart. That's, I think, the most disrespectful. I don't get how you can have Nathan MacKinnon, how you can have Austin Matthews in the tier above, but Nathan MacKinnon isn't franchise-defining. I think that might be the most egregious example. Obviously, a guy like Patrick Kane also should be in franchise-defining player if you're going to have Austin Matthews, considering Patrick Kane brought the Blackhawks their first Stanley Cup since 1961, Stan Mikita, black and white TV. So that is another massive problem that I have with this. In terms of other things that I would change, I think he's a little bit too harsh on Aaron Ekblad. I have trashed Aaron Ekblad in the past, but I think he should be in good, but not quite first overall, especially when you have guys like Lafreniere and Owen Power that really haven't proven jack shit. I think you got to move up Marc-Andre Fleury, even though I think that he's overrated all time. He's definitely doesn't belong, again, in a tier of a guy like Owen Power that has not proven shit. This guy is the second most winningest goalie of all time. He does have a Vezina trophy when looking at him in 2021. He has one Stanley Cup as a starter, and his longevity is impressive. I agree that he is not a top 10, not even a top 15, probably not even a top 20 goalie of all time, but I think you got to have Marc-Andre Fleury at least in game changers. But it is weird how it goes from game changers to good, but not quite first overall. Like, I think game changers, I think top 25 player in their prime. What else do I have? I would probably move up. I'm not gonna lie, I would probably move up John Tavares another tier into absolutely elite when looking at him on my New York Islanders for like 8 seasons. He was a top 15 player in the NHL. He was definitely not franchise defining. They didn't have the overall team success, but I think you got to put him. I think he's going to have a similar career about to like a Jack Hughes when looking at Jack Hughes peaking probably as like a top 5 player. And John Tavares was a Norris Hart finalist 2 times in his career, just played in a lower scoring era. But yeah, when looking at this, I just can't get over the Nathan MacKinnon disrespect in the absolute elite tier. This is a guy that I think is going to retire as a top 25 greatest player of all time. You got to take that into account. Even right now, I would take his career over Mike Modano's. But yeah, what I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I think is absolutely off the charts in terms of egregious. Nothing beyond that. It's really Ovechkin and Nathan MacKinnon is just, I don't really get the logic there. Alexander Ovechkin's going to lead every single player to ever play the sport of hockey, ever to play in the NHL in terms of goals per game. Is he the best defensive player? Is he the most complete player? No, but he rightfully so. 9-time Rocket Richard, 3-time Hart. That's more than Sidney Crosby has. The same amount as Mario Lemieux. He is definitely a league-altering player. He was the second best player in the entire league for the better part of a decade. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this tier list? I'm going to do my own of this at some point. I did it I'm trying to think. I did it, I think, back in like the spring, so I didn't want to just redo a new one. I just wanted to look at this. No hate, Tim, at all. You're entitled to your own opinion. I just wanted to explain it because it has been everywhere. I wanted to give my personal thoughts, and I'll be seeing the next one.